All right. Hey guys, Gina with Sidewalk Talk. Today, we're with Sippy. How have you been? You've been doing so much since then.
I have.
Yeah, like
Busy.
Yeah, very busy. What have you been up to lately?
Lately, honestly, so I'm about to go into like 6 months of intense touring. Pretty much.
Oh, jeez.
I think I have like 3 weekends free between now and January. So it's gonna be a lot. But
6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I had a month off. So during that time, I was pretty much in the studio non-stop, either like finishing things off, making new music, making sure that I kind of had like those projects that were like halfway finished. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this month has been very intense in terms of like studio time in the best way possible. Like I've had the most fun. And then yeah, I'm about to like go off and play all that unreleased music.
Wow, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
Like every single year, I just feel like you're just growing like so much.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
I feel like I'm only just starting to like be like, okay, I don't know, like I obviously like saw the growth, but now I'm starting to be like, oh, okay, now I'm really being able to just like do what I want to do, like really start to execute some things like musically. So I'm really excited.
What's like a highlight moment for you? Like one, just like highlight moment
that I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I actually have quite a few, but one moment would probably be when I released an EP last year with Cyclops. And Run It Up, is that it? I can't even remember the name of my own EP, Run It Up. But it was like when I released it, I got the cover of Dubstepped On and like all of this sort of stuff. And for whatever reason, like that moment, I think at first, like I was like, it's crazy that I even have music on Spotify. And at that moment I was like, okay, like I'm really like doing this shit and people love it and connect with it.
That's amazing.
Onto it. So
wow.
Yeah, that was kind of a big moment.
Yeah. So you grew up in Sydney.
Yes.
Like what was it like growing up in Sydney? Like you were a ballerina for a really long period of time.
Yes.
You like, just like, so is ballet something that your parents kind of, not forced, but like introduced you to it?
No, so it was actually my older sister. So I have a sister who's 2 years older than me. It's just us two, and like I just wanted to do everything like that she did. I just looked up to her so much. I mean, I still do, but
Wow.
I was like, I was only young. I started at like 3 years old, but I was like, well, if Ellie's doing ballet, I want to do ballet, or if Ellie's learning piano, I want to learn piano. So like,
is that kind of how it did, like with the instruments too?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think the only thing she didn't learn that I did was drums, but she started learning guitar, and I was like, well, I want to learn guitar too. Like,
this is the most wholesome sister relationship I've ever heard.
Yeah, she's honestly, I love her so much.
Yeah.
And we're actually like polar opposite, but we just get on like so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what made me get into it. And I think there were times where my mom was like, she would be like, do we really need to go to ballet tonight? Like, do I really need to drop you to ballet? Can't we just like stay home? I was like, no, Mum, ballet, like we're doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, I did it from when I was 3 till about 17, 18. Yeah, it's like something that I like never think to talk about, and now suddenly it's like come out and everyone's like, what?
Yeah, it's just like, can you do some ballet moves?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, ballet,
Yes.
I tried to take it in college. It's like one of those things you have to
pick up when you're older.
First of all,
Like I would not.
it's the only class that I like failed. and I had to drop
No
out
way!
because
Oh my
I
God.
tried so hard. It was an 8 a.m. class, okay? And I
That's
tried
so hard.
I tried my best. But I was just like, you know, you have to be
it's-
graceful and land properly.
Yeah.
I'm like, boom, boom, boom. It's so bad.
And some of the studios they have, their floors like make noise.
Trust me, I know. I know. Like everyone's like all graceful and like long, skinny legs and everything. Like I'm like, and I'm trying to be graceful. I'm trying so hard. That is
Honestly,
so
it's funny
hard.
because I feel like now when I'm like playing and stuff, I don't look graceful at all. But, like, I was like, I could once back then, but now like. I don't know. But yeah, what did you take in college for you to be doing?
Well, it was just like, you know, the core classes that you need to fulfill when you're freshman year.
Okay. I
So
mean,
you
it
have
works
to
a little bit different in Australia.
Oh, okay. So like in college, you have to like take at least 1 or 2 classes in every like theology or like
Really?
science,
Okay,
business,
interesting.
whatever.
No
and
matter
so
what you want to do eventually.
yeah, so
Okay.
like no matter what you want to do, you have to fulfill these requirements.
Yeah.
And, like,
What was Ballerina?
it was arts. It was on the
okay.
arts.
That's
So I had to
cool.
I did pottery, which was like
Yeah,
like
that's
really
fun.
yeah, it was really fun.
And it doesn't
I
really
did
matter
ballet.
if you're bad at that. Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I got like better at it. That was like easier for
Yeah.
me. But ballet,
That came out naturally.
oh my god, that did not come naturally. It was just like a dream of mine. I was like, yeah, that would be nice, but
Honestly, it's
no.
funny because even now, like, I have so many years of experience, but I would be hesitant to, like, go back and do it.
Yeah, like if
ballet
I ever
class.
have kids, and they want to get into ballet, I'd be like, and they're older, I'm like, yeah, no,
No,
you shouldn't.
I'm not letting you.
Nope.
I'm going to let you learn from my mistakes.
What other things did you do like growing up? What were your favorite
So,
things to do growing
I mean, I was like definitely a very active kid. I always did ballet, and I pretty much always from a young age did like athletics or running. So it was like sprinting or long distance, all of that kind of stuff. They would happen all year round, pretty much every year. And then I would do other sports in their season. So I played soccer from like 5 years old until I was probably
You're like,
in my 20s.
holy moly!
Yeah, I was very like active. I played touch football for years.
What?
And
What is touch football?
Okay, so it's like rugby, but you like tag people instead of tackle them.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's
So it's
only-
literally touch football.
Yeah, and well, we call
Oh.
it football. Obviously, you guys like over here, football is a different
Yeah.
thing, but it's also like there's only 6 on a field, so it's kind of different structure. But yeah, so I played that for a long time, and then I also I loved snowboarding, even though we have no snow in Australia, or like barely.
Where would you go to
snow.
snowboard?
There was a place that was like 5-6 hours from Sydney that
Oh.
you could go, and like I would go like once a year.
I didn't know there was like.
The snow is terrible. Like they literally like we have a tiny bit of snow, and they're like, okay, now we're just gonna work really hard and make as much snow as we can.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's pretty small, but I loved it. And then I also like played heaps of instruments. Like I was very into music at school. I loved playing piano, guitar, drums. I was like in a band. I was like writing music for orchestras and stuff. So like yeah.
Oh my god, you were writing music for orchestras?
Yeah, but like small. I don't know. They were like probably 15 to 25 piece, and it was like part of like our school like assignments at the end of the
Oh, okay.
school thing. I don't know.
What music
Very intense.
were you listening to? What were you and your friends listening to growing up?
Honestly, probably more like I definitely had like my punk kind of phase. I had my like definitely had like an indie rock kind of phase as well. Like I don't know, I used to listen to like Death Cab for Cutie or like Postal Service and stuff
Oh,
like
I
that.
love Postal Service.
Which
Wow, I
is
haven't
like-
heard that
I know. super,
name
like,
in so long.
Yeah, so it was like that kind of vibe, or then like, I don't know, then I had my period where I loved like Blink-182 or Panic at the Disco or Kiss Chasey or like that kind of era, so like, I definitely listened to a lot of different things, I didn't really know a lot about electronic music when I was like kind of growing up. It wasn't until I like went to university that I was like, oh, like,
Yeah.
what are these bleep bloops?
Bleep
What are
bloops.
these bleep bloops, and how do you do it?
Where did you get your creative side from? Like, what do your parents
It's
do? Are
funny
they?
because my parents are like definitely not working in creative industries, but my dad he's very passionate about music. Like, he loves music.
Oh, really? Like,
and he played
why?
piano,
Oh, okay.
but just like for fun. Like, he just enjoyed it. But he's very passionate about music. He loves it. Like, my parents still go to like every year they go to this music festival in Australia. Like, it's called Blues Fest, and they like love it and that kind of thing. My mum was she wanted to be a fashion designer, so she's kind of has that creative streak too.
Yeah. So they're both creative.
Yeah, but like normally I wouldn't think of them in that way that they are creative, but I can see how they have their creative outlets or their creative things that they like really enjoy. But they didn't necessarily push me to like pursue anything creative, or they honestly just want like my sister and I to be happy, so they never pushed us any different direction. Like, they didn't tell us we had to go to university. They didn't tell us like
Wow.
yeah.
Wait. Wow. I wish I had parents like.
Yeah. But they
Whoa.
didn't. They also like they now work in finance, but they didn't. Like, they didn't go to university or anything like that. So I think that for them it was quite natural to be like,
wow.
you can get to wherever you want, like in whichever way you get there. Like, it wasn't so like you have to do this, and work in this. And,
Oh, okay. Wow.
which is really great, honestly.
That's amazing.
I feel very like privileged to have had that kind of upbringing.
Yeah, I envy that so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Well-
it was different for you.
Yes.
I mean, like,
Well, I didn't have like a father figure, but
Yeah.
like I had my grandma and my mom growing up,
Yeah.
and my mom is just like, and I'm an only child.
oh,
so like
that also changes the pressure.
Yeah, it's just like
The second child, so they're like,
okay, look
"No,
whatever.
Ellie's gonna have her shit together for
Yeah,
us,"
so
and
it's
then-
like polar opposite for me, pretty much. But it's okay. I feel like I turned out okay.
Yeah, you did.
I think so.
Great.
Yeah. So it was probably like super easy for you to tell them that you're gonna pursue music, like a music.
I mean, it was, but it wasn't. Like, I kind of slowly became more and more, like, it slowly became a full-time thing. I mean, obviously, eventually, you kind of have to bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like I was doing it for fun at the start, and then I had a full-time job, and I was just DJing on the weekends or during the week, and then, you know, I started working in a job that was in music, so it was like this kind of thing, but it was really hard. It was harder, I think, for my dad, because he would always worry about me, because I'm DJing at like 3 a.m. in the morning out in like some pretty dangerous places.
Oh,
and it's not like
yeah.
now where it's like, I don't know, like I get very well taken care of. I get, you know, all this sort of stuff. But back then it was like dodgy areas, middle of the night. No one's making sure I, you know, get to where I need to go. So he really struggled with it because of that.
Oh.
And he also knew, like, you know, he obviously heard or saw like how it can be culturally and how you can kind of lose yourself, and like,
Yeah.
you know, there's
a-
drugs and alcohol that are
Yeah,
available all the
valid
time.
concern.
So I think he was a bit like, oh, and he didn't understand how it could be like a full-blown career. Like, I don't think he really understood it as early as my mum did. But in saying that, like, always very supportive. Like, they never were like, you shouldn't, or don't do that, or they were just more like, be careful, what do you need, how are you going to do this, like.
So like,
yeah.
was this the time when you were like running the 3 DJ schools or whatever?
Yeah, so I was doing that
Oh, okay.
for 3, so that's the thing, like, I went straight from university studying completely different applied science,
Yeah.
exercise sports science, but Like,
That's amazing, by the way. Like, what?
I
Like,
now look back
so
and I'm
smart.
like, well, I look back, I'm
So
like,
smart.
how did I pass? Like,
What do you mean?
like I studied biochemistry and neuroscience. Like, yeah, now I'm like, how? I don't know.
Dude.
I don't know how I got through that.
Wow.
My best friends from uni will argue that I didn't get through it, but hey, I got the certificate.
Yeah. I mean, you clearly got through it. I don't know how.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, so I went straight out of that and opened these DJ schools for...
Like, what does opening 3 DJ schools look like? Like, is it like you're renting a space or like?
Yeah, so the way it was structured was, so it's for this competition called Your Shot.
Okay.
And Steve, so essentially the idea of the competition is they interview a whole heap of people who want to be DJs but have no experience, and then they train them to, like, they teach them how to DJ, and then they perform at, like, this big event. And essentially they used to kind of outsource their training, but they wanted to, like, do their own training, so it was very tailored to, like, the experience. So they were doing it in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane at the time, and Steve, who's the, like, owner and creator of Your Shot, he kind of was like, hey, look, this is what I'm trying to do. I want you to essentially, like, go and make that a reality. And
That's crazy.
yeah, very crazy. And I was only 21 at the time. I had no experience in business, like anything.
Yeah, so like how did you're like, yes, I'm gonna for sure take this opportunity.
Yeah, and I think, like, I'm kind of glad that I was, like, that young, because I think I was just, like, driven, and I was like, yep, I'm just gonna make it happen, and I didn't think that there was an option for it not to work out. And now I look back, I'm like, how the fuck? Like, I had no employees or anything, and I started where I was like, okay, like, I guess I have to, like, find commercial real estate, which can be the place that we DJ in, but then it was always like, they weren't necessarily open for the whole year, like they would be open for 3 months, so then I was like, okay, well, it has to be a short-term commercial lease, but also we're DJs, so how are we not going to be able to hear each other practicing at the same time? So I had to, like, find a way to design, like,
Wait, what?
build.
So you're like
And then
legit
I got
an
a
entrepreneur.
builder. It was crazy.
You got
And
like
then
an
I had to build a
entrepreneur.
website. I don't know. Like,
So what?
yeah, it was crazy. Then I had to, like, write the syllabus, find trainers, teach the trainers.
What is the
like,
budget for this? I'm just curious. Were they like?
Honestly, the first budget I got, like, the first what do you call it, business plan that they wrote, like, the expected how much they thought they were going to spend was, like, hundreds of thousands. But then with the way I did it, I don't know, managed to be like, okay, like, don't do it that way, because, you know, like, I kind of slowly with time just worked out, like, how,
What?
it was crazy, honestly.
How did you even figure it?
I look back, I'm like, how the fuck?
It's
Like,
because
I
you're
don't even
smart
know.
AF. Wow.
Smart, driven.
There is
And I just, you know what it was?
good work ethic.
Good work ethic, and also, like, problem solving. I was like, okay, well, how?
Wow.
All I did, like, I know nothing about real estate, but I was like, okay, like, Google, call people, like, have meetings, see, like, who I should talk to, like, crazy.
That's insane. So like how long did it take for you to like actually find the momentum?
For that?
Yeah, when you just started,
So I
when this guy was like,
started-
figure it out.
Yeah,
and then
so
you're
he told me that in January of, I don't remember whenever I was 21, I don't know, whatever year
Yeah.
it was, but yeah, like, I did, so he told me in January, and I think we were open in May, and there were 3 different states, so I would have to fly, so I would do one, and then I would fly to the next state and do that one, and then go back to another state and do that
I'm
one.
very impressed.
I-
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
good for you.
Yeah, thanks. It was crazy. I definitely learned a lot.
Yeah,
And
what's the
then,
biggest lesson you learned in that whole experience? Because that's not like this is not an easy thing for you to figure out.
Yeah, I'm really grateful, honestly, because I feel like what I learned from that is just like you can take it into anything.
Into anything.
I think my biggest thing was like the most important thing for any like business or any goal you want to achieve, like well, that one specifically was just all about problem solving. Like, if you're a good problem solver, you can really, like, make anything happen. That one I was like, I knew nothing about pretty much everything. Like, I didn't know anything. And
wow.
I was just like, all I have to do is, like, research, like, work the problem, research, like, I don't know, find the answer. Like, there's always, like, I don't know, I think some people too, like, they want things they want the answer just, like,
immediate,
in their hands,
yeah,
and they
exactly.
don't know how to find the answer.
Right,
But in that period, I was like, well, I don't know this, so I'm going to go and find the answer.
Oh, wow.
And nowadays, it's really easy to, like, find a lot of answers for shit, you know? Like,
yeah, for
call
sure.
people, Google, like,
yeah.
get 6 recommendations, find the best one, like, I don't know. But yeah, it was crazy.
Wow, good for you. Good for you. When were you taking, so at what point were you taking icon classes?
The second year, so...
What are you doing to yourself?
Literally, oh my god. And also, I just didn't sleep, and I was just like, got sick all the time.
What made you want to start these 3? Some people will just kind of like, wait for this.
Something was wrong with me. I don't know. It's just.
But no, this is a great quality.
Yeah, I think at the time
it's very rare to have this work ethic.
I didn't realize that at the time. Now I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I think I just saw how much experience I would get. Like, because also if you're trying to start a business, normally, it takes so much. It takes a long time, and also, like, you need to put money into it. And, like, I didn't have any money. I was, like, 21, straight out of uni. And this opportunity was like, hey, like, we're giving you everything. Like, we're kind of telling you, like, what we want, and we're, like, funding it. You just have to, like, do it. So for me, I was like, holy shit, like, this is an incredible experience.
Yeah.
But then, so what happened was at the start of it, when I didn't know what to do, and I was like, okay, like, I should start researching, I called, I was friends with Bear Grylls, who's over here, and he found out I was doing it, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, like, and he was like, oh, I have a friend who, like, works at this school and blah, blah, like, music production school, like, you should talk to him. And it was Nick Cherwink, who was working at Icon. This was when I was building the school. So I just, like, kind of spoke to him and was like, oh, this is what I'm doing, like, give me some tips, like, I don't know what I'm doing, like, any information is good.
Wow.
So I spoke to him, but at the time I was like, oh, like, I had never heard of Icon, so that's how I heard of it. And that whole year while I was setting up the DJ school, I was like, knew that Icon existed, and I kind of was like, I was just learning to produce music on my own through, like, friends and YouTube and that kind of thing. And so after the first year, I was like, okay, I think I really want to, like, take my music production to the next level, or, like, take it a lot more seriously in terms of, like, I want it to be structured, I want to, like, really learn everything. So then the second year, like, the first year I set them all up, and then the second year I was like, okay, now that I set them up, like, I just need to run them, so I will study at Icon at the same time, which is chaotic. It's definitely just as chaotic as it sounds, because I was doing it online.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. I would sleep, like, I'd be lucky to get 5 hours a night consistently for, like, months.
Oh my gosh.
And the way that the schools work, I would have, like, usually around 3 months where we were working 7 days. So it was just, like, crazy. I was, like, doing assignments in, like, the back storeroom of one of these DJ events with, like, a towel over my head with a microphone trying to record our singing assignment. Like,
I'm just surprised that you're able to do online classes.
Honestly,
like,
online classes were, like, it was actually it was really amazing doing it online, because it really kind of sets, I understand why doing it in person is really good, but doing it online was great because it kind of teaches you how to, like, stay accountable yourself. Because, like, normally as a music producer, like, okay, you might have deadlines or, like, management chasing you for something, but, like, usually, like, you're the one that tells yourself to sit down at the computer.
It's a great quality.
Yeah, and doing it online was great because it was like, well, I don't have, like, my class doesn't start at this time. Like,
Yeah.
I just have to go through the content, read, like, watch the tutorials, and then do my assignment.
Wow.
So it was really good. I mean, they did have online classes as well, but, you know, it wasn't like we're normally here. It's like, oh, we're going to sit here for 3 hours and I'm going to teach you the content. It was like, I don't know, videos and...
So you prefer online more than like in person?
Well, I actually prefer in person.
Oh,
But,
okay.
like,
But with
I
the
didn't have the
circumstance-
option,
yeah,
so
of
it
course.
was kind of like, I'm more of a, like, in-person type of person. I enjoy, like, people explaining things to me. I ask a lot of questions. Like, I'm very, like, curious, inquisitive. So, like, normally in person is better. But they did have a lot of, like, lessons where you could, like, it was like a video conference kind of thing. So you would all be in there together, and that's when you can kind of ask questions and all that sort of stuff.
What's the best piece of music production advice that you've ever received? Like it could be like something like with vocals, how messy it is, like literally anything.
I think the best advice in terms of music production was that it's all about the preparation. So, and I'm saying this now and I'm like, oh, I really need to like go back and do some of these sessions. But like, when it comes to writing music, like, the best music comes when you're just like flowing, when you're just going with it, you're like in the zone. There's so many different ways to call it, but you're in like your flow state. And the thing is, like, a lot of people really struggle to get into that state, and obviously you need to like work out, everyone's different, you got to work out how to get into that. But one of the things that like helps so much when you're producing music is having all the tools and everything there, so that when you are in that flow state, you can do as much as you can in that time, so that you don't, like, before you
I love how you
out
say
of
this
that state.
flow state.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just one part, it's just like the beginning part?
Well,
or
no,
what do you
so,
mean by
like,
flow
Flow
state?
state is kind of like, I guess, like, I don't know if you call it a mentality, but flow state is like not specific to music. It's like anything. Like, if you're a really good, like, I mean, I'll go creative for a second, but like if you're a really good drawer and you see someone just like in the zone doing their thing, completely just like feeling it. If you see someone in sport who are like, you know, when they're just on, like, they're just, everything is going right, or like you're writing a paper and you're just like fully in the zone. So that's kind of like flow state.
I see.
So that's kind of like the best state you want to be in for that kind of stuff. But yeah, so to have all the tools, like I would have sessions where instead of going in to write music, I'm just preparing for when I get in the flow state. So I'll do a session where I'm like sample digging, or like I'll have a session where I'm doing sound design, and then I'm doing a session where I'm making like processing racks, so that once I actually am feeling creative, I'm feeling inspired, or I'm just sitting down to write music, everything is already there and prepared, so that like...
What?
Yeah, so that I don't have to like...
I've never heard this process before.
Really?
Like,
I mean,
doing it like separately and preparing for
it's
your
like,
flow.
you
So
don't necessarily-
organized.
Yeah, it is very organized.
Wow.
Very pragmatic and logistical.
I love it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that's the...
If I was a music producer, I think that's how I would approach it too.
Yeah, it's honestly really great because once you get in that like mode, you don't have to like, I don't know, you don't get stuck like tweaking it or like looking for the right snare sample out of 500. You've got like 15 that you love. You go boom, boom, boom. That's the right one, at least for now. You can change it later, but it helps you kind of like move through that process a lot quicker. But also, like, I'm not sure if it's... I think the best advice I actually got was, like, practice, practice, practice. So just, like, write as much as you can. Finish as many songs as you can, even if, like, they're not going to get released. Because, like, the quicker you do that, the better you'll... Like, the faster you'll get better. So it's just kind of, like, finish songs, like, write as much as you can. So, yeah, but, yeah, that's kind of, like, the way that I do it, although I should do it like probably probably more often than I've been doing it lately.
I mean, if that's your like flow, then
yeah,
obviously like don't
it's
change
a fun way
it.
to do it.
It's brought you so far. It's brought you here.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm out here.
Yeah, you're out here.
in LA.
What is your favorite plugin?
I've recently been really enjoying this plugin called Rift. By Minimal Audio. It's like a really fun, I haven't really explored it a lot, but it's essentially like, I mean, I use it for kind of like distortions, but there's like multiple effects within it. But another one that I use all the time, which is like, it's kind of like boring, but it's like so useful. I use Shaperbox, which is like a, I mean, it has multiple parts in it, but Shaperbox, it's by Cable Guys. It's like I use it for like transient shaping, but I also use it as a sidechain. And it's just like one of those plugins where you're like, it's very easy to use. It works really well. It's super clean. It's only come back, like I use it every project without a doubt, but it's only come back on my mind because like a few friends that I've been working with in the studio don't use it. And I'm like, how do you like,
Oh, so it's not like
use
a
it?
comment. It's like a
well, I thought it
not
was
really
common.
a
I'm like, everyone uses this. And then I was like, oh, holy shit. Like,
Who introduced it to you?
probably, I think the Riot Boys, they
Oh,
were
okay.
like, you need to like use this. And I was like, yeah, I can use Ableton's inbuilt compressor. And then I was like, holy shit, no, this is way better. And now I
Yeah.
like feel like I can't live without it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Cool.
Oh.
What is your ultimate comfort food?
Comfort food.
My favorite question of all time.
Honestly, it has to be like one food.
Yeah, like when you're sick, sad, that comfort food that you're like craving.
Probably. Honestly, I love pho. I know that's super random, but like, it's just something, like when I'm sick, I'm saying this because I'm like, I haven't had it in a while, and it makes me like.
Well, maybe you've just been so happy. You've been so happy. You haven't
And
craved
also,
pho.
like, now that I've moved, like now that I'm over in the States, like I don't always know the spots. Like I had my spots in Sydney. I was like, I know where to go for everything that I want. I know what I'm craving. Like,
So, what are your favorite foods? So I know.
honestly, like most of it is like different, like Asian cuisines. Like I love Thai food. I love Vietnamese food. I love Japanese food. Like whenever people ask me, like, if you could only like have one cuisine for the rest of your life, I'm like Japanese, no question.
Japanese.
Well, just because I'm like, it's versatile. Like I can have sushi, but I can have ramen, and like,
It is. I mean, food in Japan is just top
Yeah.
tier.
When I went there, I ate the whole trip.
I mean, that's the only reason why I don't go to like places. I haven't like traveled ever since I met Keenan.
Mm-hmm.
I've only, for the past 5 years, I've
Yeah.
only gone back to Japan and Korea.
Oh really?
Because I fell in love with the food.
That's so good.
Like the food
I
there is
haven't
just so
been to
good.
Korea. I think.
It's just like an hour flight.
Yeah.
They'll probably have like a show there in no
Well,
time.
it's because normally I've come from Australia, and it's like it takes so long to get. Well, I mean it's the same actually from here, but like it takes so long to get out that you're like, I don't know. Sometimes you're like, I want to be
Yeah.
here for a while to like experience it and see it, but I don't know. When I go traveling, I don't usually like jump around too much. I like being in like a country and really like, I don't know, feeling like I live there, even if I'm only there for like 10 days.
So do you usually like stay in and cook, or do you go out?
Yeah,
and eat?
I cook a lot at home.
Oh, what do you
But-
what do you make?
I mean, I'm not that exciting. In terms of, like, I'm not
that
a
exciting.
great chef. I'm more like I cook like healthy.
Healthy.
Or I'm like, this is what's left. I don't want to waste food. So how can I turn this into something really?
I mean, that's a skill.
Like I'll put like, I don't know. I do like a lot of breakfast I love making breakfast. I don't
Oh,
know
you love
why.
breakfast.
Yeah, I think it doesn't have to be first thing in the morning, but it's like, it's my first meal of the day. I'm like, all right, like, what do we got? I love either making like I'll do an omelet, say for example, like with whatever like vegetables, like I'll make an eggplant omelet or a zucchini omelet or something like that.
Wow.
Or then I'll make,
So healthy.
Yeah, it is healthy.
Yeah.
People are like,
goodness.
okay, so healthy. But the other reason I eat so healthy is because when I'm on the road, like you don't always have options for, like you don't know what options you're gonna have for food. And sometimes it can be unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like I have days where I'm like, I'll have muesli bars stashed in my bag because I'm like, I don't like know when the next point I'll have to eat. I mean, sometimes it's different, obviously. Sometimes you just get there, you can Uber Eats to your hotel or like whatever, but there are some times where it's like I know this weekend I'm like flight, festival, sleep, flight, festival, sleep.
I don't know how music producers, DJs, lifestyle. I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't.
Yeah, there are some people that I'm like, well, you need to like sleep.
We do like 4 shows in one day.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait,
You need to sleep.
yeah, what is crazy?
It's okay when it's like 1 or 2, like the adrenaline's going, so you're kind of just like working through it. But when there's like, you're a few days in, it's like, when is this crash coming? Like, you know, I can only keep myself up on adrenaline for so long.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think I do cook a lot at home. I make the omelets. I make these like breakfast bowls that are like, I make like a runny boiled egg, but over like a kind of veggie bowl. And so it's like the runny egg kind of acts like a sauce.
Oh,
and then I usually use like sriracha or something.
Chef Sippy. Yeah.
I'm definitely not the chef. But I love eating, like I love food. Like, I love going to nice restaurants. I love like eating different foods. I love, I don't know, tasting things that I haven't tried. So.
Yeah. Someone asked,
Oh.
do you think you could take Shaq in a cage match?
Oh my God. I mean, I feel like I'm just so short that he wouldn't be able to like
The thing is,
grab me. Like.
I mean, let's really think about this here. So Shaq, you know, given his age, size, you know, he is a little bit bigger, a tiny bit bigger, but you're like I feel like you're like a ninja.
Yeah,
like you would climb around him like,
yeah, I'd be like,
like you're like a ferret, just like ferret energy, just like and like honestly, maybe.
I actually think that would be quite interesting. Yeah, but then once I get away, it's like, well, now what? Like, I can't like, well, I'm gonna choke him out. He'll just grab me and fling me
Yeah,
off.
but I guess that's true. I guess you just have to wear him out.
Yeah. Oh,
I think that's a
This
strategy.
is the thing, because I'm like, yeah, I could wear him out, but then I'm like, okay, but he was like a pro basketball player who like
He doesn't play basketball anymore.
Yeah, but like as in his unfit is like
Still, yes.
Still
I mean,
up there,
you
you know?
right. I mean,
and it also takes him like 3 steps to my 20, so it's like I'd be like running so much more to like tire him out.
my dream in life is to mosh pit with
him.
Shaq.
There are so many.
I think I would.
There are so many experiences. This is gonna sound so bizarre, but there are so many experiences that I want to have with Shaq. Just because, like, I don't know, like
He's just such a fun,
he's amazing,
wholesome
I
guy.
love everything about him.
Me too.
Yeah.
I barely know. I just see whatever I see on like TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah.
Twitter, like through different producers. He just seems like such a good guy.
Yeah, we're playing a show. I'm playing it on one of his shows in a few months. So I'm like preparing. I'll like write a list of all these like things. I'm like, if I can.
Excuse me, Mr. Shaq.
2 of those. Like, excuse me, Mr. Shaq, but
What's
can
the
I
2?
sit on your shoulder?
Oh my, he would say yes, 100%.
I would be too scared I'd fall from there because that's so high.
I know. How tall is he?
I don't know, but I saw one of those. It has like I don't remember where it is, but it like compares like basketballers like hand and shoe size next to each other. And like his like I saw the photo and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I saw him at Los Angeles, I think it was 2021, and he was coming on stage, and I was like kind of on the ramp where we were passing. And
So you've seen him in real life?
Oh yeah. I was like, oh my god, Shaq. Like, but he was like walking up. Obviously, he had like people in front of him, and then I know we were passing, and he kind of was talking to, I can't remember which DJ I was with, but they were talking. And then he like looked at me and he like put his fist up to like fist bump me, but like
Did you fly back?
Like it was like the size of my head.
Oh my god!
And like I felt like when I like fist bumped back, it felt like I just touched his pinky. Like I was like.
I think that'd be the same. If I really pursued my dream to mosh pit with Shaq, I think I would fly away.
That would be so much fun. I mean, I would love to do that, but it also scares me because normally when I'm in a mosh pit,
I've never mosh pit before.
What? Okay, well that has to be your first time for sure.
Yeah, my first mosh pit experience will be with Shaq.
That would be
bumping
incredible.
into me, and then I'm just gonna fly.
I mean, you will die. But
yeah,
I know
die.
like he moshes very respectfully, so you'll actually be very safe.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
But
that's good to know.
Yeah. If you didn't know you were behind him and accidentally went like that, you'd be like, one and done. Like one mosh pit and never.
I'd be done. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Favorite song on the current rotation? Yeah, what are you listening to right now?
I mean, I jump everywhere because, like, obviously, like, sometimes I'm listening, like, bass music, and then sometimes I'm listening to, like, Billie Eilish. Like,
I love Billie Eilish.
Oh my god, I love Billie Eilish.
I love her so much.
I'm obsessed.
She
like, all of her songs, I'm like, just stop. It's too much.
It's just too good.
Yeah. I have this one, actually, you know what? I'll look at my, I have an album inspiration playlist.
An album inspiration?
Yeah, for whenever I want to write, but also when I eventually write an album. Let me have a look what I've just put on there recently. But I do have this one song that's like, that I've been listening to lately. I think it's called Notice Me. Let me have a look.
Notice Me?
It's not like really new, but I'm just like, I don't know, I get obsessed with songs, and this one I've listened to like so many times.
Yeah, I'm like a very few songs on playlist repeat girl.
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, like everyone's just like, Gina, you play the same 10 songs in the car.
That's me.
I'm like,
yeah, because I love it, and I'm like, yeah. Like,
exactly.
Like, where is it gone? Okay, well, I've lost it, so.
Well,
I also really love, this is like, again, like, not bass music related. I love the Doja Cat. Attention by Doja Cat.
Oh, Attention.
She went off with that. Maybe I put it in.
Have you been following what's happening with Doja Cat?
No, what's happening?
Oh,
it is called Notice Me. There we go. I assume you pronounce it Escape. ESCPE.
Escape.
Notice Me. But love it. Like, just listen to it on repeat. It's like my cruisy, like.
Now I'm gonna have to listen to this song.
It's definitely.
I don't really even listen to EDM anymore. It's like loud. I love loud. I love loud. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely listen to it, but it's in such a different context. Like, I don't know, if I'm like cruising, like, I think because I work, like I produce it all the time, like I need a break.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm like, this is like high energy. This is intense. Like, you know.
Yeah. How do you handle writer's block? Or like when you're stressed?
Honestly, that's the biggest thing, because I think, like, there's one part of me that's like, I don't really believe in writer's block. Like, I do.
You don't believe in it?
I mean, I do, but there's like so many ways to like get out of it. This is the whole, like, essentially, like, I feel like writer's block is when you're never in flow state. But like, that's why I'm talking so much about. No, there are so many, that's why I like find it so important to like get yourself in that flow state. But in saying that, I had writer's block for like, I don't know, probably a year, but I still released songs and I still wrote songs in that time, which is like, I don't know, kind of sounds counterintuitive, but I think my biggest thing for writer's block is like, there's a few things that you can do to really help. Like, I have a lot of things that I set up that help me get out of it. So say, for example, like, one of the things I might do is like, okay, I'm gonna try and recreate this. Are we going to, should we go down there?
No, we're just gonna go
Okay.
this way.
We're changing them.
We're just change the atmosphere. We've been going
around that.
we've been going the same circle.
Like we've been going
Yeah.
the whole time. Like, where are we going? It's not right. Yeah, I have, like sometimes I'll be like, oh, like to get me out of writer's block, I'll be like, okay, my job for today is to like recreate this song that I really love. And then it'll always start where you're like trying to recreate it, but then eventually you kind of get in that flow kind of thing, and it always for me ends up being something completely different. Or the other thing I do, which is really big, is like phone out of the studio and just like, and I'll set like a timer, so it'll be like 45 minutes to an hour is usually where I set the timer, and it's like you can't move from here, like you can't be in anything else but Ableton for the next 45 minutes to an hour. You have nothing else to do, like this is it.
Wow.
And like sometimes the first 10 minutes is like really hard, but usually by like 30 minutes in, whether it's something that ends up being a full song or an idea or you don't use it at all, like usually by that 30 minutes I'm like very much into like something else.
You're like mentally very strong to be able to do that. Yeah. I tell myself, it's as simple as like, don't check your phone in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah,
I
also don't sleep with my phone within reach of the bed. I also have social media limits. I'm a big like.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, you
like,
have to be really strict. Like,
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it's really hard to like do it, like to have that kind of self-control.
Self-control. But
the thing is, once you do it, like the feeling that you get from, or like how productive you get, and also like your attachment to your phone changes so much that like you kind of get addicted, well, I get addicted to that feeling. So I'm like, well, I could have it next to my bed, or like I could feel like that tomorrow, you know? So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. I know that most people's brains don't work like that.
It's something like I wish I could do.
Yeah.
It's just my body just moves.
It's like I mean that's why I also got next to my bed, like I always have a clock with the time, so that it's like I don't, because normally, you know, you look at your phone because you're like, what time is it? Is it time to get up? Or like whatever, and then you see the notification, so you're like, oh, let me have a look. Like, you know, like, but if I, like when I go to sleep, if I have like a, you know, a clock next to me, then I'm like, okay, time to go back to sleep. Like,
wow,
it's not phone time, yeah?
Wow. So now that we've been talking about all the things that you're just so good at, like you're a ballerina, you're super smart, applied sciences, it's just like music production, just strong mentally, just so many things. What is something you're really bad at?
I'm bad at basketball. Speaking of Shaq, I'm really bad at basketball.
You're really bad at basketball?
I'm just so short. Like, how could I be good? There's like nothing that points to me.
I mean, I guess so. Basketball.
Yeah.
I feel like you're really good at it secretly.
No, like, that's a definite.
I'm gonna play basketball against Shaq and you're.
I don't know. What am I? I mean, there's plenty of moments that I'm wrong, where I make the wrong decision, or like do something where I was like, well, that wasn't very smart. How good is learning from making mistakes?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm bad at, like, I'm definitely a bit of a workaholic. Like, I love working.
I get it. Yeah, I love working. I literally had that, I literally tweeted that. I was like, I am addicted to working.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm bad at, like, I don't know, I constantly feel like, okay, well, like, I should be working and I should be doing this and blah, blah, blah. And so it means that I'm kind of bad at, like,
relaxing.
Yeah, and understand that, like, okay, like, we're done in the studio at this time.
Wow.
And that's it.
It's probably the most relatable thing I've ever heard. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, like, I'm not great with it's funny, I'm either incredible with detail, but it's always detail that doesn't matter. And then I'm terrible with other detail. Like, I'm terrible at remembering birthdays.
Oh,
I'm like not very good at remembering names. I'm getting better because I'm like making myself do certain things, but some of that is hard because like when you're touring and like going to different cities,
how
and
do
meet,
you
like, you know, 30 new people in a night.
I feel like it's understandable for you.
Like,
yeah.
You don't see them again for like a year and a half, and then you're like, oh. Shit. I had a whole thing to remember your name a year and a half ago, and now.
Yeah. I feel like it's understandable for you, like for like DJs, music producers, just like always on the go too.
But I usually remember, like, as soon as I see someone and they start talking to me, usually within the first 5 minutes, I can almost remember exactly everything that the first interaction was.
Oh wow.
So like I'll be talking to someone, they'll be like, hey, like, I don't think you remember me. And then they'll say, like, I met you here at this point. And I was like, that's right. How's your sister who's studying nursing?
Whoa!
Like, you know, it'll take me a little while, but, like, I remember experiences or, like, you know, I'm very, like, in the moment. So, like, I'll remember the experience, but, like, sometimes I'll forget, like, I don't know, their birthday. Or,
Yeah. Like, I remember the feelings of when I meet people. Like, like this person was really friendly to me. Yeah. Or like, oh, like this person was not so friendly. That's it. And then that's it.
That person was really friendly.
Yeah, those are all the things that
I get that.
Yeah, for sure. Do you consider yourself an introvert or extrovert?
Honestly,
I really don't know.
I used to think that I was such an extrovert because I'm pretty like
social,
friendly, social, talkative. But also, like, I do so much on my own. Like, I travel on my own all the time. I'm working on my own a lot of the time. Like, I'm flying interstate and getting to a city and then having dinner by myself. So, like, there is a little part of me that's like, I'm like a homebody. I love being at home, which is like not great for a DJ because it's never.
You're always on the go.
Yeah, so like there's a little part of me that's like, I feel great when I can like be at home and in that little like cocoon, but I'm definitely like friendly and like excitable. Yeah. I love people, so I feel like I'm kind of an extrovert in that way.
So you're like an ambivert.
Is that right?
That's like in between introvert and extrovert is ambivert.
Yeah, ambivert.
That's what I heard.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
You're smarter than I am.
That's because I love interacting with. Well, that's because I wanted to see like I'm not an extrovert, but I'm not. But I'm definitely more of an introvert, but I love connecting with people. Yeah. So it's like, what is that?
You're the in between.
Yeah, in between. Yeah, ambivert.
I kind of feel like that.
Learn that.
But maybe the opposite. Like I'm kind of more extroverted, but then I'm like, but I like being at home by myself and doing my things around the house.
Yeah. Doing your things around the house.
I call it like fiddle fluffing around. You know, just a little fiddle fluff around the house.
Fiddle fluff.
Yeah.
I really like that. Yeah. I'm gonna say fiddle fluffy.
Like an Australian thing,
like everybody, it's time to fiddle fluff the house.
Yeah, we gotta.
I love that.
Let's just fiddle fluff around for a while.
Fiddle fluff.
Even like
that's so cute.
If I went to the green room, and someone's like if a good friend was like, "Oh, what are you doing in the green room?" I'm like, I don't know. I'll just go and fiddle fluff around for a little bit.
Fiddle fluff. Like I love the terms that you got. Like heaps. I love heaps.
I forget
but it doesn't make any sense for me. Like I can't say heaps. I'm not like
just
because
say
you gotta.
do it.
You have to say it with like an Australian accent. It doesn't make any sense if I say heaps. There's like why
Doesn't
are
it sound same heaps? Oh no.
No, we don't say heaps. We just say lots. Right?
Yeah. Or
heaps,
a
lots.
heap.
A heap?
A heap.
Wait, what?
How do you normally say heap? Like that's a word, so like you must say it in some way.
Just like, isn't heaps like another word for saying like lots of something?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
A lot of.
Yeah, like a lot of, heaps of.
I'm like, how do you?
I don't know.
How do you say it?
How do you think you've grown as a person since you first started?
Oh, since I first started?
Yeah, like 20 years old.
Crazy. Yeah, like honestly, I've grown a lot as a person in that time. I also think like I've always been like a fairly mature person, so
I can see that totally. Like you have such a.
Even though I'm like I'm a dubstep DJ, but like.
But you've done so much.
I've experienced a lot, and I think like it gives you a very interesting perspective. Because you also see like the world outside of like whatever you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And also like, again, coming from another country, like this is a whole nother country with a whole way of doing things. It's like also very different.
Yeah.
But I think I was always like fairly wise, or mature, I guess. But then like, I think I got to a point, especially when I moved here, like I think I was like, I know how everything goes, and like I'm pretty like on top of everything, and I got my shit together. Like I know everything. Like not I know everything. I'm very inquisitive, but I still was like, I'm sorted. Like I know how I do things and blah blah. And then I think I like realized, I was like, oh shit. Like I felt like when I moved over here, I felt like a teenager again, or like not even like a kid again. I was like, I have no idea. Like it was very like humbling. I mean, I think of myself as like a humble person, but it was humbling as in I thought that like I was very organized in myself, who I am, what I want, like how I am in certain scenarios. But I think when I moved here, I was like in a completely different experience that I'd never seen or been a part of before. And like that really like made me grow so much more. It was like very uncomfortable during the process, because I was like, oh my God, like I don't know how to do all of this or like whatever. But I think from when I first started to now, like I have the amount that's happened both professionally and like personally in that time, it's like two different lives almost. Like I feel like I've come so far and grown so much, and I'm honestly like really grateful for it. Like it's such a crazy journey.
Yeah.
You know? Like very dynamic.
Seriously.
Very, I don't know, very different.
And what do you think is the biggest lesson you learned in the music industry?
In the music industry, probably like, I think it's about the long term. I think like a lot of people get into it and they focus on a lot of things that are like quick, easy, you know, like how do I get here as quick as I can? But I mean, I've always had this mentality, I guess, but like focusing on the long term, like what's going to be best in the long term, I think is like the way to ensure like a successful career that has longevity. So it's like, you're not going to, like, sure, someone can blow up in the period of 2 years, but then at 5 years, they don't have a career anymore because they haven't really like built the foundation that are going to help them to continue to like grow. And you see it on like different sides, whether it's like personally they're not ready to like go off and tour, but also keep up with their music. Or maybe sometimes you can see their skills aren't quite there, so when it comes to their production, they can't quite keep up or like continue to like level up in their production.
Right.
So I think that's sometimes people being like, oh, like here's a quick, fast opportunity to like really like go. And there's been a few times during my career where I can see these like kind of crossroad points where it's like, here's someone that's like giving the quick, easy, short, you know, you can have all of this and you can have it in 6 months or whatever. But I can see it and I can feel it in my gut. I'm like, oh, but like that doesn't, like, I don't feel, I can't see past that 6 months. You know? Like, I don't think that's what's going to be best in the long run for me, for my career. So yeah, I think the biggest lesson has been kind of like always look at like the bigger picture.
Yeah. And like after, for you personally, like after how many years did you feel like you built this foundation?
Honestly, I think it was after COVID that I really appreciated the foundation that I built.
Oh.
As in like, I moved to, I did briefly move to America in January 2020. I did like a 6-week tour with Zaya, and then I went back to Oz for like a 2-week holiday and ended up you know, whole world shut down and all that sort of stuff. And during that period, I spent like way more time in the studio for like a year and a half. And then when I moved back out in like June 2021, I really saw that I could keep up with all the opportunities that were coming in. You know, it was very like, there was a lot that I was struggling with. Like the touring over here is a whole different beast to Australia. The scene is very different. The way that people react to music is really different. So like, there was a lot of other things that I was learning about, but I was like grateful that I was now in that moment with the skill set I had. Like I was very comfortable at DJing. Like if anything went wrong on the day, on the decks, like I didn't feel panicked or stressed or anything like that, and could usually like fix it pretty quick. I felt comfortable in myself. I felt like my music production, my baseline was there. So I don't know, I think that was a point where I was like, you know, oh, I'm like grateful I'm at this point. And now like I have reminders all the time where I'm like, you know, like I had a remix come in recently, and essentially the team were like, hey, you've got 5 days to like do this remix.
Oh my gosh.
And like,
does it usually,
like,
can you do that in 5 days?
well, I'm at the point where I can.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not ideal. Like, you know,
how long do you really need for like a remix?
it depends, because sometimes it can take, I don't know, it does depend what headspace you're in, but sometimes when you have those short deadlines, you're like, well, I have no choice.
You have
like,
to.
I just gotta
Wow.
solve the problem. Like, you know,
Yeah.
But yeah, like, even in that moment, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm glad that I'm at a point where I can, like, do that. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think like moving to LA as a DJ and music producer is like, oh, like do you think like people need that?
No.
Okay.
If anything, it depends, but like for some people it can actually like negatively
Oh, really?
impact their career. Yeah, I think because there's also so many things that you can kind of get like caught up in and distracted over here. So for some people, it stops them from actually like sitting down and like putting in the work and like focusing on what they need to do. It's different
because that made a huge impact for you, right?
Yeah, I think it's very different too when you come from a different country, because you do really need to be, like if you're wanting to develop yourself in, you know, over here, like you do really need to be in the country, because, you know, if you're wanting to get booked for shows, it's a whole different thing if people are trying to bring you out from Australia versus like somewhere within
that's
the country.
true.
For me, moving to LA has been incredible and definitely like been a huge part of like my kind of development in my career. I just think some people get stuck on like, oh, you have to live in LA for it to happen. And I don't agree with that. Like, I'm like, no, you have to put in the work to get there. So
I love that answer.
But some people can do really well in LA. Some people don't.
Just
like,
depends.
I know people who like live here for periods and it's not for them. I know people who like live here for like, you know, say 5-10 years, and then they're like, okay, like LA has done really well for me and now it's time to move somewhere else. But I don't think it's like a necessity. Okay. But I definitely think it helps a lot of people. But I think some people think it's like, it's great because it's like networking, so you just like see people in music and you go to parties and blah, but I'm like, if you're going to parties all the time to network, like that's a slippery slope.
I don't like to like, I'm not like a big party, like that's what I was saying, like I got really lucky because like most of my interactions are like at my place. Yeah. It's like a home thing. Like we play board games.
Introvert's great.
And we play like Mario Party and stuff, or like Monopoly. Yeah. So it's just like I never had like the value of friendship, like because I'm from Chicago. So so until I moved to LA, that's when I got like the concept of like friendship and like whatever. So like I love LA. Yeah. But it's true. Yeah. That it really depends on the person.
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
And like I mean, I love LA and I have some great friends out here.
Yeah.
It took me like a little while to find them, I think, because again, I was like traveling a lot.
Yeah.
I was very new, so I was a bit like, I don't know, but now that I have, I'm like, I don't know, the people that I met here and the people I'm friends with now, I'm like, holy shit, like you are like,
Aww.
you are my people.
Yay. I'm glad you found that. I'm glad you found that. Are you still playing touch football in LA?
Yes.
What is that schedule like?
Oh my God.
Like, is it pretty
I think I had
open?
training yesterday. Oh no, Tuesday. We do 2 trainings a week.
Uh-huh.
This is for like nationals. So there's like a national competition that we're playing, like that I'm playing as part of the LA team.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the World Cup next year, which
Uh-huh.
is intense, but it's usually like 2 days a week training, so a Tuesday and a Saturday. Most Saturdays obviously I can't make, but they, like, my team are fully aware of that. I make every one that I can, but Tuesdays are a little bit easier because I'm normally here during the
okay.
week,
Wow.
unless I get on like the bus tours and things.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone asked if you would consider selling your socks, but I'm not gonna ask you that question. That's so weird. Why are people into foot stuff? You know what I mean?
Each to their own. Like, each to their own.
Would you really sell your socks?
I mean,
You know, there's people that are like, can you run and sweat in the socks and send them to me?
I mean, everyone has their thing. That's not hurting me. Like, I don't know. As long as they're not like stealing socks, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I guess that's a business that you could tap into if you really need to in the
I
future.
know nothing about that.
Yeah. Few more questions. What's
Yeah.
the top goal on your bucket list?
My top goal is probably, I mean, I know that this is not happening right now, but my top goal is probably to release an album. Yeah, I'm very excited to do that process. But
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, but I'm also like, I want to do it when I'm ready and it feels right.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I'm a lot closer to that. Like, I don't want to put out an album for the sake of an album. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very like, I can already kind of see how it's going to be. Like, it's definitely very versatile. I kind of write, even though I'm in bass music, it kind of jumps around everywhere. But I think I just have a little bit more before I'm like ready to kind of take on that project, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
when
me
it's
too.
finally,
Me too.
when it finally feels like, okay, here it is. This is what we're
Yeah. So exciting.
doing. Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received or that you love to give? Or the best piece of advice you love to give to people? Because I feel like you're very wise. Like, you have a lot of wisdom. So you would be
I
the
guess I'm
advice
pretty
giver
wise.
or...
I don't know. Usually it's like situational advice. I don't know. I think one that I give to people a lot is, and it's not always like the same, it might be different in certain scenarios, but it's always about being good in yourself. So, like, I'm a big believer in like the more you're good in yourself and the more that you work on yourself, the easier like everything else on the outside becomes. Because I feel like when you're that centered, you kind of understand like what scenarios are like working for you, which ones are working against you, whether it's like romantically, whether it's like work-wise, whether it's, I don't know, anything on that vein. I definitely have seen, and I'm a big believer in like the better and stronger you are in yourself, the easier all of that becomes. So I'm a big like do the self-work, you know, like whether that's physical, whether it's mental, you know, obviously a lot of it I think is like, I think mentally, psychologically, you know, whether it's go to therapy and work it out, whether it's journaling, whether it's meditating, all of those, or just like learning more about yourself as well, like all of those sorts of things. But, you know, it can be physical as well. But yeah, get yourself solid, because also like, not to sound like dire, but like you are the person that you're with from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep to when you're born to when you die. Like,
Yeah, that's very true.
So
Sometimes you forget that.
Yeah, and you gotta like yourself. So like work yourself out, and if you don't like yourself, like work out why and work on that, I think.
I love that advice.
Yeah.
I love that very much. And last question.
Okay.
What do you want to be remembered for?
I don't know. I love having an impact on people, but on a very like, doesn't have to be on a big scale. So I think like something that I want to be remembered for is like being someone who positively impacted almost like everyone around me.
Oh,
So, like,
I love that.
sometimes it's with my friends or my family or like even random people on the street. Like, I'm kind of the type of person if
Just like any positive
someone's
impact.
struggling with something, I'm like, let me hold that, or like, do you want to go for? I don't know. Like, positively impacting the people around me is like something that I really love, whether they even like know it or don't. Like, I've definitely had moments where I'm like, this person doesn't even know that I've like made this easier for them, but like I'm just happy that like it is easier for them.
Wow.
But yeah, it doesn't always have to be like big impact.
Yeah.
Like, so
You are such a good person. You have good people energy. That is the cutest dog ever.
that is the cutest dog ever.
Well, Laura,
Oh my God.
Laura, thank you so much
Thank you
for
having
doing
me.
this interview, sprinkling your wisdom. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks,
Thank you for
guys.
having me.
Yeah, of course.
Bye.
Bye.